And another ways of making difference between these, difference between these two is based on whether or not it is based on whether or not phenomena of all the three time appears to it. For the mental consciousness, it can have appearance of three time events: past, present, future. But for the sensory consciousness, they cannot. And another, I think the fourth one is pretty much same as what I said, so I'm just going to skip that. And now I'm going to talk about difference between gross and subtle mind. Gross and subtle mind. And there are several bases where we can rely upon to make a distinction between gross and subtle mind. If you make a distinction based on how hard or easy it is to identify, then we will say feeling of pleasure and suffering is grosser in relative to neutral feeling, because the sense of pleasure and suffering is more easier, more obvious as to identify. And if we make the differences based on whether it relies on a physical sense power or not, then we will say sensory consciousness are more grosser in relative to mental consciousness, because mental consciousness does not depend on physical sense power. Third, if you make a distinction based on the clarity or vagueness of its focal object and representational aspect, then we can see the difference within the mental consciousness itself. The mental consciousness during the awake is more grosser in respect to the consciousness of dream. And dreamy consciousness is more grosser in respect to deep sleep consciousness. And actually, I think His Holiness Dalai Lama spoke about these on the first day of this symposium.